Our main responsibility is to defend and protect all NATO allies, and no NATO ally has been attacked. So deterrence is working because everyone sees that NATO is a very strong alliance, and we are now implementing the biggest reinforcement of our defense, our collective defense, since the end of the Cold War. So we are delivering deterrence, and we are showing that NATO remains a strong alliance.
So as far as Ukraine is concerned, or eastern Ukraine, President Putin can do what he likes, not our responsibility?
No, but Ukraine is not a member of NATO, so there is a difference between Ukraine and NATO members, because the security guarantees is of course for NATO allies. But we don't respect or accept in any way what Russia is doing in Ukraine. And that's the reason why we provide strong political support for Ukraine, and that's the reason why we provide strong practical support for Ukraine, helping them with defense reform, improving their own capabilities for defending themselves. But the most important thing now is to support the implementation of the Minsk agreements, meaning respecting the ceasefire, making sure that all heavy weapons are withdrawn from the front line. And to make sure that that happens, we need proper monitoring.
I mean, unfortunately, that's not happening at the moment, is it?
Well, the ceasefire, we have seen some violations and some incidents, but the main picture is that the ceasefire is holding. It's fragile, but it's holding. And we have seen also some withdrawal of heavy weapons, but we need to see a complete withdrawal, and that's the reason why the important thing now is to make sure that we have monitors in place.
What happens if alleged Russian minorities in the Baltic states start saying that they would like to join a greater Russia?
So the main purpose of NATO is to defend all allies against any threats. And if we see any kinds of, what I say, hybrid warfare or efforts...
Political agitation is what appears to be the main tactic of expanding Novorossiya, first of all.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we are adapting our forces to be more ready, more prepared to react on very short notice if we see anything similar to what we have seen in Ukraine taking place in any NATO
So
ally.
even if it's claimed that forces are going in, that they're local forces, or that they're there to protect the Russian population, you would see that as an act of war?
So I'm 100% confident that NATO will react if there is any kind of attack on a NATO ally, and we are increasing our ability to do exactly that by establishing a new enhanced NATO response force of 30,000 troops. That's twice as big as the existing response force, and the lead elements of this new response force will be able to move within as little as 48 hours. In addition to that, we are establishing command units in the 3 Baltic countries, in addition to Poland, Romania and Bulgaria. All this increases our ability to reinforce if needed.
Given that this government won't commit itself to the NATO targets in the years going ahead of 2% of defence spending, do you still see Britain as a leading member of NATO?
So Britain is a staunch member of the NATO alliance, and Britain has shown leadership for many, many years, and I count on Britain to continue to show leadership. And
you know what military leaders are saying at the moment in this country, particularly the ones who've just retired, who feel free to speak out. They feel that this government is not making the necessary.
But at the same time, I know that Britain is next to the United States, the country that invests most in defence. And I count on Britain, UK to continue to do so.
Which means keeping up the 2%.
I can count on Britain to do so, as I count on all other allies to implement and to honour the pledges we made together as 28 allies in Wales.
Why is that figure important, as you say, because many of the allies don't observe it, and also because there are those, even military experts, who say, well, just agreeing to spend a certain sum is not what's relevant. What's relevant is what you do with the money and what state of readiness your forces are in.
I agree that it is extremely important to spend the money in a good way, to spend smart, efficiency, reforming, modernizing our armed forces. Efficient. But at the same time, in the long run, we can not get more out of less indefinitely. So at some stage, we have to invest more in defense. And the reason why we have to invest more in defense now is that the world has changed. We see threats emanating from the east with a more assertive Russia, and we see ISIL, barbaric violence, turmoil in North Africa, Iraq, Syria, close to NATO borders.
And how important is the British nuclear deterrent, maintaining that in terms of NATO's overall defence profile?
As long as there are nuclear weapons in the world, NATO will remain an alliance with also nuclear weapons. And the UK provides an important contribution to that.
You've been at the Afghan service today. What do you think was achieved in Afghanistan?
We did what we set out to do, and that was to prevent that Afghanistan is a safe haven for international terrorists. That has made Afghanistan more stable, but also
still
UK.
Terrorism there.
Yeah, but in 2002 it was a Taliban-ruled country. It was a completely safe haven to organized attacks against the United States, which took place the 11th of September 2001, but also planning attacks on other NATO allies. So we are more safe because Afghanistan has become more secure. And I think it was a very moving and fitful service today to honor all those who served in Afghanistan, those who lost their lives, and also all others who have made so big sacrifices. And UK being next to the United States, the country with the highest number of people who lost their lives in Afghanistan.
I mean, unfortunately, you can't say, though, that the wider Middle East is more secure, can you?
Afghanistan is more secure and more stable. Then we have many challenges, and we don't have any guarantees for the future, and that's the reason why we're not leaving Afghanistan. We will continue to support Afghanistan, we will continue to help them, but now the responsibility for Afghanistan future lays in the hands of the Afghans.
And is sorting out ISIS our responsibility?
ISIS poses a great threat to all of us, and that's the reason why all NATO allies are contributing in the coalition fighting ISIL. NATO is now considering a request from Iraq to help Iraq to improve their capabilities to fight ISIL and to create a more stable Iraq. And we are, of course, protecting all allies. So NATO has deployed Patriot batteries in Turkey to help defend Turkey against any missile attack.
Stoltenberg, thank you very much.
Thank you.